Take a look at the starting five for Billy Donovan's Gators. 4 seniors, that's a rarity. Most in the top 10, only one other team in the top 25 has as many as 4 seniors starting. Donovan, a lot of experience in the sharpshooting. Michael Frazier, the second, the sophomore, is the starter as well. Alabama's shaking up its starting lineup a little bit. Algie Key, Rodney Cooper getting starts tonight. Retin Abasahan, Alabama's second leading scorer, injured a hip flexor in practice on Tuesday and will not play. And Levi Randolph is now going to come off the bench tonight. He has been a normal starter for Anthony Grant's team. There is Billy the Kid, who's become Billy the Dean in the SEC. Billy Donovan, 465 and 188, future Hall of Famer, 19-5 in his career against Alabama, and he's won 7 straight. There's his former assistant coach, Anthony Grant, in his 5th season as the head coach of the Crimson Tide. Though he had the lead in the second half a couple of times against the Gators last year, he has yet to beat his old boss, and we're ready to tip it up here in Tuscaloosa. It goes off a couple of hands. I think the last to touch it was Carl Engstrom, the Alabama center, so the Gators will take it into the front court on offense for the first time tonight. Our officials tonight, familiar faces, Les Jones, Roger Ayers, and Jim Burr. As Alabama opens up playing a little zone coach. Patrick Young on the inside, post-to-post pass, will you get? Loses it, able to scramble and get it back. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Wilbekin. Frazier's deadly from 3-point range, but not that time. Offensive rebound by Young, didn't hit the rim. Shot clock did not reset. Patrick Young muscles it in for 2.
Well, I'd as soon have Patrick Young as any kid playing college basketball today, Reese. That kid is really, really into the game.
I was talking to Billy about him today, Coach, and the way he arrived at Florida with great expectations. Some expected him to be a one and done. He hasn't turned into an offensive force, but he is the ultimate team player. He's a tremendous rebounder and defender and hustle guy, and he can score around the bucket as we just saw.
Well, he just has a big effect on his teammates. He gets those teammates playing hard. He stays after them. Great kid to have on a team.
Young gets his hands on the rebound, and Prather's going to chase it down off the Shannon Hale miss. It's something that you see often from Alabama. Not a lot of different offensive options for the Crimson Tide. Got deep in the shot clock, and the freshman Hale had to put one up. Scotty Wilbekin fires, and Young, I believe, is going to be called for the foul, going over the top of Engstrom.
A push off as he went up to get the ball. I was a little bit surprised with that shot that was taken, the 3-pointer, because Florida usually moves around a little bit at the start of a game. That seemed to be a little bit of a quick shot for the Gators.
Here's Relaford, Alabama's leading scorer at over 18 per game. They wanted to try to force the ball out of his hands when they can. Uses the screen from Hale. Relaford all the way to the bucket. Florida worked on that and shoot around this morning, but sometimes stopping it in the game is a little bit different.
Yeah, but they being Alabama really did a great job taking advantage of an open lane to the bucket.
Algie Key with the steal. Relaford's ahead of the pack, and Key didn't get it to him. Instead, Key will take it himself and got his shot blocked. Here's the last play by Trevor Relaford going to the basket, Coach.
He sees an opening and doesn't hesitate, and that's a situation where the blue shirts, Florida, have got to be sliding toward Relaford's path long before they did. He beat them to the bucket. There's help available, but they didn't get there.
Hale puts it on the floor, drives, misses the shot, and it's rebounded by Dorian Finney-Smith, who's just checked in for the Gators.
I believe I'd have called that a walk when he caught the ball.
Smith fumbles it. Frazier tries his second 3 of the night. He's 0 for 2 from behind the arc. He is the SEC leader. 3-point field goal percentage, making better than 48%. Relaford on the drive. Wilbekin with some tough physical defense. Relaford wanted the call and didn't get it. Gators in transition. Prather. And one. Foul on Engstrom as Casey Prather, Florida's leading scorer, gets his first bucket of the night.
Prather made a great defensive move down here. Came in, help side, he jarred the ball loose, and here, when he comes down, he makes a good cut following up. Ran the floor really well.
Prather in his senior season has certainly made the most of it. He's averaging more than 17 points per game. And now that he has 3, if he scores 14 more points tonight, Coach, he will match the output from his first 3 seasons in Gainesville in terms of scoring. He's been healthier this year, though, in case he's battled some injuries.
Well,
Florida showing pressure.
He's obviously worked really hard at it, too. I was kind of surprised that Florida has taken a couple of threes without a whole lot of room to do so. They were a little bit quick.
Press forced Anthony Grant to use the timeout. Out to a bit of a theme for this weekend. On Saturday, 7 of the top 10 teams in the country are on the road. Number 6, Florida, making its road trip a little bit early tonight. Florida trying to trap Algie Key. Key, a junior college transfer, started the season well, struggled of late, goes all the way to the basket, can't get it to go in, and you get, takes it away from the Gators.
And Frazier gets the ball back on that side. He hasn't done it yet. You got to have a little shot fake, loosen up the defense instead of just trying to shoot over.
Wilbekin at the top. Alabama stuck with that zone in the opening moments of the game. There's Frazier again. He won't try the shot fake, and he's 0 for 3 from behind the arc, and that's unusual. He's a very pure shooter normally.
Well, that was the best delivery he's had of the 3 shots he's taken. Rodney
Cooper took the 3-pointer for Alabama. Dorian Finney-Smith grabbed the rebound, but he was on the baseline, and Alabama will retain possession. Crimson Tide sending a couple of substitutes into the game. Nick Jacobs, the junior, big man, 6'8", 245, and the freshman Jimmy Taylor, a 6'10" shot blocker, comes in. Wilbekin watching Relaford closely. That's a matchup we'll see a lot tonight, even if the Gators choose to zone Alabama, which a lot of teams don't. Nick Jacobs with a physical move, and for about the 3rd time tonight, Alabama's had one roll all the way around the rim and come off.
Well, that was a good move into the bucket. He split the defense very well.
Prather. Strong tip, no, another tip won't go, and Relaford's out of there and on the run. Doesn't have the numbers, so Trevor will hold up. Trying to create a little space. Key drove, they'll swing it around to Relaford. He gets into the lane, off-balance shot won't go, and you get as another rebound for the Gators.
That's where Relaford had that little 8-foot stop and pull-up jump shot. He was off balance, he got in with the big guys, had wide open shot at 8 to 10 feet.
Dorian Finney-Smith knocks down the 3. He has good range, a little bit of everything, good rebounder for the Gators. He's been a good addition for them, giving them some depth, and Florida has an 8-2 lead.
He really got set well on that shot. He went up with his head in front of his toes on an angle, and that's the exact angle you've got to have when you shoot that 3. Head's got to be a little bit ahead of the feet. It's a good switch that Florida makes there, and it ends up with the ball.
Wilbekin with a nifty steal. Scotty taking it all the way, and a shot deflected. Relaford tipped it, and Key comes out with it. Alabama's on the run. Relaford puts a shot up and in. And Trevor Relaford has all 4 Alabama points. Both teams have had a lot of shots around the rim that have sort of rolled out on him.
Boy, Wilbekin kind of bailed out on that last drive. That was not what they want. He had to take it tough. He didn't, and then they beat him going the other way. I was surprised with Wilbekin.
Well, see, the problem with Frazier earlier is he took all 3 of his misses from the right side, so he moved over to the left and knocked down the 3.
But I'll tell you what, though, that was the best shot he's taken. He went up quickly. There wasn't any real pressure on him, and he drilled it. He kind of fiddled around with the 3 shots he had over here. None of them looked like they were going to go in.
Rodney Cooper at the top, and Alabama getting late in the shot clock. Cooper's 3 is no good. The freshman Taylor with the offensive rebound, and he'll pitch it back out to Cooper, and they'll reset it.
Got to get into Cooper a little bit more out there. They virtually gave him the shot.
And Cooper struggled with his offense this season. He was a guy that Anthony Grant was counting on to be a little more productive offensively. He and Levi Randolph are guys, the Crimson Tide. Needed to score. Good hands by Yeget, knocking it free from Key. Key bounce pass from the seat of his pants, and Nick Jacobs finished it. Sometimes you're just not lucky. Florida seemingly made a good defensive play. Key scrapped for it and made a little chicken salad out of what appeared to be something else.
That was a great take advantage of it play.
Everybody on the floor. Key kept his head, and Jacobs finished.
Alabama's patience on offense against the Florida defense, whether it's zone or man-to-man, they're looking for slots to drive, and they've done a good job of going to the bucket with it. And they've had, I think, either 2 for sure and maybe 3 that have rolled out. They've only taken 1 shot from outside that you wouldn't want them to have taken, but I think they've really done a good job of getting to the bucket.
The first 7 minutes really a microcosm of the season as Jacobs misses the free throw for Alabama. Relaford has made a couple of field goals. He's 2 for 4. The rest of the team is 1 for 8. And finding a secondary scoring option for Relaford has been a thorn in Alabama's side. Gators, meanwhile, have had guys come through in a variety of situations, and they have their terrific young guard, Casey Hill, into the game. Benny Smith made a 3, missed a second one, then chased down his own. He and Frazier got a little crossed up on the handoff, and unforced error turnover for Florida. That's their second.
Well, they did a real good job of getting the ball from one side to the other and getting an open shot. They just missed it, but that's the best possession that Florida has had in terms of reversal of the ball and getting a good shot. Little pass faking up on top against the zone really helps move that zone.
Levi Randolph into the game for Alabama, and Shannon Hale's return. Cooper uses the screen.
Well, they've missed Finney Smith inside twice.
Relaford's trapped and in trouble, has to lob it out to Hale, and now the shot clock's on him. Shot clock at 5. Cooper in the lane, uses the offhand for him. He's a lefty, uses the right to get his first bucket.
It was a great drive that he made, and he had himself so under control. He was paying attention to where the bucket was on the whole drive.
Now Alabama's scored a couple of buckets in a row to cut it down to 11-8.
One of the things that I would rather do than what Florida's doing right now, they pass and pass. Now that's the first look to drive with the ball that they've had so far. The pass against the zone is the thing that you can't cover, but when people start driving, it's a little bit different.
When we come back, night vision and the art of the shot fake and how Florida could have used it. By 3, Michael Frazier's hit 1 of 4 from 3-point range, but here is exactly what you're talking about, Coach.
We're going to take a look right here at an opportunity to shot fake and not have any pressure under your shot. Also, a little shot fake, and you're going to drive baseline and be wide open all the way to the bucket. There isn't anything better on the perimeter against the zone than the shot fake.
Frazier tried to add a little bit more, putting it on the floor to his game, and he is a deadly 3-point shooter. Sometimes I think any great shooter will fall in love with that 3-ball sometimes, and here he goes again. Frazier contested, and he missed another one. Young had his hands on it, couldn't hold it, and Levi Randolph gets the rebound. Cooper driving. His shot knocked out of bounds. The last shot in the corner by Frazier. When you have a great shooter like him, are you okay with that kind of shot?
Yeah, I think so.
I did too.
The only thing that I would like, though, is when the ball got across the lane, on the left side of the lane, shot fake throwing it back to the right side, moves the defense, and you give him just that much more room to take the shot when he's down in the corner. Plus the fact the defense comes out on him, then he's got to drive as well.
Relaford working on Casey Hill. Hill, a McDonald's All-American point guard. Well, he's got a great future in front of him in Gainesville. Feed from Randolph to Shannon Hale. He gave Frazier a little shot fake. Couldn't get the shot off. Now Alabama's against the shot clock again. Levi Randolph fires and gets a friendly home roll, and Alabama's within 1. For Alabama, that one that rolled in will make up for those that were rolling out earlier. Very fortunate turn of events for Randolph.
For some reason, they don't seem to overcome those that you're glad it went in, but you still got that 1 or 2 you've just missed. Now, good penetration,
Strong move by Prather. Got his own, and he got fouled by Jimmy Taylor inside. No call. We heard the slap from here. Taylor got away with it. And a great cut to the basket by Dorian Finney-Smith. Foul was called on Cooper, his first. Here is the block on Prather. That was a lot of ball, but I heard the distinct sound of skin slapping.
Florida's very quick to move the ball from side to side.
Finney-Smith interior passing. Patrick Young goes up strong. The tip is no good. Finney-Smith draws another foul as he was going to the basket.
The one thing about passing against the zone, Reese, if you continue in the same direction, the defense is able to move with you. But if you start one way and then throw it back the other way, you get the defense a little bit confused, and now they've got to cover left instead of right. And I always like to see the fake pass out there and then reverse it back the other way.
Finney-Smith was well short on his first free throw attempt. ESPN brings you a couple of primetime matchups Saturday. You'll see these Gators back at home against Tennessee at 4 o'clock Eastern time. That'll be followed by College Game Day, which leads you into Michigan and Michigan State, the only two undefeated teams in Big Ten play. Everything, of course, live on the Watch ESPN app. As Finney-Smith misses them both. Prather beats the freshman Hale for the rebound. Finney-Smith back in there hustling. He can't get anything to fall through the net after he hit that three, but boy, he is working his rear end off.
Well, he went a little bit too quick with the ball inside. He needed a little shot fake and then protect it. But not just at that end of the floor, down here at the other end of the floor, Finney-Smith has made a couple of really good defensive plays jamming up the lane down there.
And Dorian finds that free throw stroke. He came in a 64% shooter. Alabama has had problems keeping teams off the offensive glass. Almost give up another one as Prather had his hands on it and tried to save it. Goes out of bounds, and Casey, being the good guy that he is, gives a hand to the photographer along the baseline that he ran over. Florida applying pressure. This gave Alabama some trouble earlier. Prather against Relaford. Randolph. Now remember, to be backcourt, you have to go all the way over and back.
He was close.
Yeah, he put 1 foot over and then came back, but he had his pivot foot in the backcourt, so got away with it. Relaford almost traveled with it as well. Shot clock headed toward 10. Randolph rises up. Couldn't get the shot to go. Jacobs couldn't get the offensive rebound, and Prather chases it down. Wilbekin just into the game. Devon Walker lets one go. Patrick Young, another offensive rebound for the Gators. Florida is not razor sharp on offense, but they're working the glass to make up for it.
Yeah, they're getting 2 opportunities per possession almost, the way they're getting the ball off the board and then putting it back in play.
Wilbekin from deep. Scotty Wilbekin knocks down the 3. Wilbekin's first points of the night. Algie Key is fouled by Devon Walker.
It's really set for the shot here. A good reversal of the ball. Got it reversed very quickly. And he's got the shot, hits the shot. And then down here, we just didn't have quite the defensive play on the ball, and it results in that foul.
And fouls called him Devon Walker. It's his first of the night. 15-10, Florida with the lead on Alabama. Walker harassing Randolph. Now Nick Jacobs has it.
Finney-Smith moves around a lot inside defensively. He really does a good job covering that lane.
Jacobs put one up on the rim, couldn't get it to go. A couple of tips. Finney-Smith pulled it out of there. Michael Frazier's going into the front court. Frazier fumbled with it, regains control, and Wilbekin will settle things down. Alabama still sticking in that zone from the corner. No good, and Key has the rebound.
Well, there was a
Smith
great shot fake opportunity there. Great shot fake, one dribble and a wide open shot. Florida has not taken advantage of that.
Relaford got low, created, and fed it to Taylor, who flushed it. Terrific drive by Trevor Relaford.
Well, that takes a kid that's really, really alert, Reese.
Gators call a timeout. Donovan maybe not pleased with the way they're attacking.
There, he saw the bucket, he was going to the bucket, and they stopped him. But so many times a kid gets stopped and nothing to do with the ball. But there, Relaford had a great setup. He didn't get to the bucket, but he knew where an open guy was.
So where Relaford ranks in the career statistics list at Alabama, he's second in the conference in steals this year. He's the SEC's active leader in steals, but the leader in steals in the SEC this year is his typical running mate, Obasahan, who's out tonight with a hip flexor injury. Frazier thought about it, but Yeget has it, working on Engstrom. Will Yeget rolled it around, and Patrick Young's there for the tip in.
You mentioned it very early, maybe even before we started. Patrick Young does a lot of things on the basketball floor.
As you mentioned, he's one of our favorite guys in the game. As Randolph drives strong, can't get it to go, and Yeget pulls it out. Wilbekin pushing it up, looking for a little early offense. Walker lines it up, knocks it down. Devon Walker.
Now that was Florida's best attack of the zone right there. Wilbekin took it into the zone, got it back, and the three-point shot was hit, but he created it by penetrating.
After Alabama preps close, Florida has answered, now has its biggest lead of the night at 8.
Be interested to see if Wilbekin continues to go into that zone.
Do you think Jacobs called bank?
No.
Nick Jacobs knocks one in from inside the arc. Nick will take it. 20-14, Gators with the lead. They say the bank shot is a lost art. I think from out front, it's not an art that's going to be rediscovered. Back out to Walker. Can he do it again? Not this time. Jacobs has the rebound. Relaford with the push. Randolph in the front court.
We'd like to have Relaford with the ball. He's continually looking inside, and if somebody is open in there, they're going to get it. And Key made an excellent pass right there.
Yeget reaches in and fouls Jacob, and we'll go to break. 5:43 remaining in the first half. Number 6 team in the country.
Old school Big Ten football score, 12-10 right now. Illinois on top, Reese.
Florida on top of Alabama, 20-14. Alabama has played zone for a great majority of the first half. Here's how the Gators have attacked it recently, Bob.
Well, I think we're going to get a good look at a little pass fake in here. Well, just not great. Little pass fake to the middle and open shot from the opposite side. Now, he also has the opportunity of taking it on a dribble a little bit to the left and then reversing it back to the right side, which is going to be wide open. That's the second bucket they've gotten in the last 5 possessions that resulted from penetration or pass fake.
Well, Florida's hit some threes. They've taken 13 of them and hit 4. I think Donovan would like to see them attack the gap to that zone a little bit more as Levi Randolph lost it and they call over and back.
Good call. Hit his knee, and he couldn't catch up to it.
Now Randolph didn't have it knocked away, just lost it himself, so a turnover for the Crimson Tide. That's their 3rd. Alabama doesn't do a great job keeping the opponents off the glass, and Florida's taking great advantage of that. 10 offensive rebounds already. Won't need one this time as Casey Prather now has 5.
Wilbekin had a great penetration and pass fake there and a wide open lane inside that resulted in the bucket. Great feed. Guy with the ball has got to always be looking for something good to do with the ball, not just get rid of it, but look for something good.
The Gators showing a little zone trap, and they force a turnover almost. Key chased down the loose ball, and Alabama's shot clock didn't reset. Don't know if the Tide realizes it. Relaford penetrating and scoring. That was a bit chaotic as the Florida defense had Alabama rattled, but Relaford settled things down, got a bucket. 6-point lead for the Gators. Wilbekin shot fake.
Ooh, now that's where the postman has got to come up. He did not come up into the middle of the lane. If he does, Wilbekin hits him for an open shot.
Wilbekin missed. Ball goes out of bounds.
Young really moves well inside, but that time he didn't. He just has to take 2 steps, and he's wide open after what Wilbekin did with the ball out here. Ooh.
Florida showing a little 1-3-1 and had some success with that recently. Alabama attacks it. Shannon Hale at the bucket. Loses it. No call. Anthony Grant exhorting the officials to do better. And Engstrom blocks the dunk attempt by Prather. Key on the run. Algie Key threw it off the bottom of the backboard. Now we're going up and down. Engstrom and Prather are going to try it again. Prather missed the layup.
Fraser was a little bit worried about the block there instead of putting it on the glass.
Relaford for 3. Can't get it to go. Hale pushed off. Got the rebound. Up strong and one. How about the big Swede, Carl Engstrom, rejecting the dunk attempt from Prather?
Good drive. They were a little bit scared of what was going to happen, and it happened. And there's a real strong move right there going up with that shot.
At the half. Back to Reese and Coach Knight.
All right, Chris, look forward to halftime. Coach and I, in our 2-week tour of the SEC so far, we've had 2 close games, and at least through the first 16 minutes and change of the first half here in Tuscaloosa, another close one. Shannon Hale finishes off the 3-point play, and Alabama slips back to within 3.
Have not had a great deal of scoring, as you'd think scoring would be in a game like this. They've gotten a lot. Both teams have had a lot of stuff around the bucket, but they haven't been able to convert.
There's a magic number for Alabama this year when they've allowed 65 points or fewer. They're 9-0. When their opponent has scored more than 65, they're 0-8. So the pace of the game is where they want it right now.
That was great defensive coverage by Alabama on the baseline. Took away the drive to the baseline, made him throw it back out, results in a giveaway. Really, that's the best defensive play that we've seen along the baseline tonight.
And Patrick Young stepped on the baseline, and Florida's had a couple of uncharacteristic, unforced turnovers.
Boy, Young went right there. As soon as the ball went toward the corner, Young had his foot on the baseline and took away the drive.
Hand off to Relaford. Wilbekin all over him. Hand off to Hale. Shot fake and drive. Hale draws contact. Can't get it to go. Key with the follow. No good. Still hasn't hit the rim. Hale goes up, and this time he did draw the foul. He'll go to the free throw line. And we've seen some aggression from the 6'8 freshman from Johnson City, Tennessee.
Well, I'll tell you what. Alabama has really come to scrap. They've done a great job, particularly at their offensive end. They just haven't had a whole lot of stuff dropped for them, but they've gotten to the free throw line a lot, and I think their tenaciousness at that end has really kept them where they are right in the ball game. They're 2 down.
Hale with 4.
5. Ooh, I missed one.
Ooh. Rare, you'd been hot. You were hot last week calling free throws midair, and shots too, for that matter. Casey Hill back into the game. Frazier, clean look from the corner. And Michaels had a little bit of an off night shooting. Look at Young and Randolph going at it. And those 2 guys are a little tangled up and a little annoyed with one another. And cooler heads are going to prevail. Patrick's going to have a seat as Casey Prather comes out, as you see Randolph and Young. And I think it was completely inadvertent, but I think Patrick didn't realize that Levi didn't give him a little shot. He was just diving for the ball.
They did a good job taking away the baseline. Little shot fake. That was good.
Frazier fills it up. Michael had been struggling from 3, but he knocks down his second 3-pointer of the night. Randolph in transition, strong, and Levi Randolph will go to the free throw line and shoot a pair.
Florida was very, very lax in getting back on defense right there. drive into the bucket. Wasn't anybody there to protect the bucket. That's why they're shooting a free throw. Down at the other end in the previous possession, they did a really good job with a little faking and the reverse of the ball for that three.
Randolph misses the first. ESPNU, the place for college hoops Saturday. As he at 9 o'clock Eastern time, Kansas, Andrew Wiggins, Joel Embiid taking on TCU. And then at 11, San Diego State and Utah State, another one of those top 10 teams on the road. Both of those teams are. You've been very impressed with San Diego State so far.
I've really been impressed with San Diego State so far. I think that Coach Fisher's done a great job putting that team together.
Through the miracle of technology, I was watching them online last night with Watch ESPN app against San Jose State. Another impressive dunk fest for the Aztecs. Casey Prather has 7, and Florida's lead is back to a half dozen.
Florida just did a good job at their end of getting the ball inside. They got a 2-on-1 situation, high-low, and it resulted in a bucket. The more they get the ball reversed, then the other way, then look in, the better they're going to be against their zone. Alabama zone.
Shot clock now at 8. Algie Key kicks it out to Relaford. Clean look from 3, and Relaford knocks it down.
Really good pass. Looking to see the whole floor.
Prather goes strong and answers with a 2. Prather now up to 9 points.
Frazier took it on, did a great job taking it to the bucket.
Headed down toward a minute to play in the first half. Hale tried to hit a cutting Key. Relaford saves it to Randolph.
Randolph did a great job of coming up. Now that's being alert. Instead of just watching what's going on, he's thinking, what can I do? And there was something he could do.
Gators sitting in the zone now, and an aggressive drive from Algie Key, and Jim Burr is going to call the pushing foul. Foul's on Prather. It's his first.
We were talking about that a little bit ago about protecting the baseline, and on that particular sequence, Florida did not protect the baseline, and they end up getting the foul because of it. So it might be worth 2 points for Alabama when the baseline was unprotected by the Gators.
Algie Key.
Oh gosh, I'm having a bad game here with my predictions.
You're distracted by the closeout I had on you during our demo thing in the early, before the game started. Key missed the front end of the 1-and-1. There's about a 12-second difference in the game clock and shot clock. Finney-Smith cross court to Hill. Casey on the drive, loses it. Shannon Hale pushing it. He's got Relaford with him, and Hill, who turned it over, then tripped Hale from behind. Shannon Hale will go to the line and shoot a 1-and-1. First foul on the freshman point guard. Gators still a foul away from putting Alabama in the double bonus. So the Tide just had the front end of a 1-and-1 missed by Key. We'll have another opportunity with Shannon Hale. See how his minutes have gone up. His productivity has also increased as Anthony Grant has looked for several options to inject a little offense into this lineup. Relaford's going to get a break for the rest of the half.
I think, tell me what you think of this. I think thus far that Alabama has had a little bit more intensity than Florida has had. I think both around the bucket and getting the ball, I think that's what kept them right in the ball game. But I do think their intensity has been more productive than anything that Florida has had thus far.
I would agree with that. I think what you have here is you have one desperate team and another team that knows it can win.
They don't want to give up the shot here. They want to make sure they get the last score, and they did.
Not only got a 3, they may get a 4. Michael Frazier knocks down his third 3 of the first half. He's got 9 points as they swing it. Shannon Hale went by and grazed the shooter.
And he was really, really quick with the little fake and then his release of the ball. Now, Florida has got to keep them from getting a point down here. If they can do that, I'd kind of want to pick up a little bit full court, which I think they're going to do, to prevent them from getting anything They got 4.5 seconds left. They want to try to make him use it all up, but they sure don't want to foul.
Relaford slipped as he tried to stop and let a three go, and it comes up short. And Frazier finished off hitting a couple of late threes, had a 4-point play to close the half. He has 10 points. Florida a perfect 13-0 and leading at halftime this second half. The SEC on ESPN with the leaders in the SEC. The Gators unbeaten in conference play and sitting atop the standings with a 7-point lead as we get set to start the second half here at Coleman Coliseum. Reese Davis, Bob Knight with you. And while Alabama played zone in the first half, gave Florida some trouble, the Gators did find a way to solve it at times, and that takes us to our Reese's perfect play, Bob.
Well, you know, and the thing that has impressed me the most thus far has been the relatively small number of turnovers that both teams have had playing as hard as they are. And here we get the thing that we're talking about, little penetration, open area, get the ball to that open area and take the shot. Good feed baseline, had time to get it away.
That was right at the end of the half in a 4-point play for Michael Frazier II, who hit his last 2 3-point attempts, led the Gators in scoring with 10 points, had 8 assists on their 12 made field goals. Relaford had 4 of Alabama's 10 field goals. The Crimson Tide hanging close, and the Gators did a terrific job on the offensive glass, had 11 offensive rebounds, and their 21 misses.
Well, you made a great call on a pass that Relaford made inside. Remember when he took the ball into the lane and got stopped, and there was nothing he could do with it with one exception, and he was right on that exception, made a heck of a pass around the big kid playing in the post, defensive post for Florida on that possession that led to a bucket. That's about as neat a play as we've seen in a long time.
Relaford had 9 points, 2 assists in the first half. Second half underway.
It's all man-to-man right now. A little help inside as they get there, but man-to-man.
I'm watching shoot-around this morning. Florida and Alabama run similar offensive concepts. The Florida coaches were identifying to their players things Alabama ran using what they call it, because pick-and-roll schemes, ball screens, very similar to what the Gators employ in their offense. Is off the miss. Alabama gets the offensive rebound, and Relaford's going to reset it.
The drive against the zone allowed for an open shot just like that one. 2 drives, 2 open shots, and they've missed both of them.
And Cooper can't get it to go.
But penetration is so important against the zone because it oftentimes brings 2 people to the ball, leaves you an open guy, and they weren't able to get anything out of either one of them.
Wilbekin for 3, he misses. Engstrom pulls it away for the Crimson Tide. We've had a lot of misses to start the second half. Relaford off the penetration. Algie Key had 3 assists in the first half, did not score. Tip in by Engstrom. Alabama not noted for its offensive rebounding, but they've done a good job on the offensive glass tonight, and they closed within 5 in the early moments of the second half.
Well, Engstrom did a great job of getting position. You know, that big kid inside, if a shot's taken, if he moves to get a position on one side of the board, he's got half of it covered and a 50% chance of getting a rebound.
Forced turnover, Relaford going 1-on-2, takes it himself. Wilbekin breaks it up, but Hale took the ball away from him. He tried to save it, scrambling everywhere, and Wilbekin has it. Prather's with him, Engstrom, and this time, Engstrom will not block the dunk attempt. In the first half, Engstrom rejected a dunk attempt from Prather, and this time, Casey gets his revenge.
Florida did a great job of coming up with the ball on the defensive end.
Relaford weaving through Gators.
They got kind of an imbalance. They got to get a little bit better balance against this defense than they have. It was the big kid.
Engstrom, little jump hook that rolls off. Uget has the rebound for the Gators.
Engstrom's got to get that one to fall.
Frazier, no. Algie Key. 3 Crimson Tide players running. Gators get back nicely. Wilbekin all over Relaford. Cooper driving on Young, and they're going to call a block. Only the 3rd foul on Young. Here's Prather on the run off the scramble, Bob.
Prather does a great job coming down with the pass and cutting the pass, set it up, and takes it all the way to the bucket. Let me just say that our crew is a little more excited about the dunk than I am.
Well, it was a pretty exciting play.
That's what I said. Our crew is a little more excited by the dunk than I am.
Wouldn't you prefer the finger roll there?
Well, no,
I know, just the same as the layup, right?
I think that it was a great athletic play. Don't get me wrong, but I don't get that too excited about the dunk. You know, the dunk is the dunk. The pass is the pass is beautiful to watch, and the dunk is just a dunk.
Yeah, you guys in the truck next time, don't show the dunk, just show the pass and then cut it off before the dunk. Okay. Cooper made both free throws. Alabama sitting back in that zone, down by 5. High-low attempt pass from Finney Smith. Alabama had hands everywhere, and they took it away. Algie Key on the drive. Key to the bucket.
Key made a great move at the end. He swerved a little bit to the right and took himself away from the possibility of a block. That's the best drive we've seen tonight.
Crowd trying to get in it. Dorian Finney-Smith, no good. Cooper pulls away the rebound. Alabama the chance to get within 1 with a 2 or perhaps tie it with a 3.
Now reverse it. That's good right there.
Key looking to drive, cut off by the Gators. Cooper to Engstrom. Engstrom just going to hand it off from out there. Now he'll roll the bucket. The big Swede is tied up by Uget. Gets it back and has it knocked away. With 7 seconds left on the shot clock, it'll be Alabama's ball.
Here we're going to see a really, really good move right here into the middle. Completely under control, made a little turn, take himself away from a possible defensive man.
Relaford tried to tie it with a 3. Prather with the rebound. The Gators running. Casey Hill back on the floor for Billy Donovan's team. Hill with a good look to Uget inside. Pump fake, and Uget puts home the bucket.
Boy, that's the first time that Alabama has been sloppy and careless coming down the floor. There wasn't any reason why they could have gotten that bucket. Florida. Alabama was just asleep on that conversion.
Hale rolling to the bucket. Shannon Hale inside rolls it in.
Made a really good quick turn, and it was an excellent pass, and he was already reading his route to the bucket. He continued to his left and spun back to his right, and that's how he got open. That was a really nice play.
Back to a 3-point game. Ball was loose for a second. Prather recovers inside and out. Gators move it well, but couldn't get a shot up. Will right over the top of everybody. It won't go. Tipped by Finney-Smith, no good. Finney-Smith again misses and finally tips it home on the 3rd try.
Boy, he does a great job staying after things. Really good job. Uget had a chance to really go after something in deep, and he got rid of the ball.
The quick attack from Relaford drew the 2nd foul on Prather. Gator Thursday night. Live events. College football, South Carolina hosting Texas A&M in the post-Johnny football era. Billy Donovan, you'll see plenty of his Gators. And Anthony Grant's Crimson Tide on the SEC Network as basketball season unfolds next year as well. 39-34, number 6 Florida with the lead on Alabama. Reese Davis, Bob Knight, glad to have you with us on our Thursday night showcase. Rodney Cooper driving. Relaford now to Shannon Hale, who line up a 3 and leave it short. Cooper with the offensive rebound, kicks it back out to Hale. Hale puts it up. Jimmy Taylor missed it. Taylor lost it, and Key tracks it down for Alabama, fresh 35. Been a scrappy effort from Alabama, unable to get over the hump so far as Relaford goes. He'll go to the free throw line and shoot a couple, where Trevor's nearly a 92% free throw shooter.
It's a big 2 for Alabama right there. They get within 2 or 3, then can stay there a little bit. They still have a good chance. There's kind of a scattered-brained offensive possession, and Relaford made something out of it that was really tough going to the line. He did a great job.
A rare miss for Relaford, who's 2nd in the SEC, 7th in the country in free throw shooting, 92%. Brenton Williams at South Carolina this year has made 48 out of 49 free throws. He leads the league. Relaford hits the 2nd.
I think this is as much in a long time, Reese, this is as much zone as I've seen two teams play in a long time against one another.
Alabama's been, and I don't know that I recall a possession they've been out of it tonight, do you?
No, I don't think so.
Shot clock at 10. Wilbekin fires, knocks it down. Scotty Wilbekin.
Key was really slow. Key was a spectator. When the ball comes into your area as a defensive player, you've got to go at it when it's behind the three. Don't give that guy an opportunity to have a three by himself. Get in his face. And Key just kind of sat spectated on that one.
Hale has been very aggressive offensively tonight. Cooper feeds Taylor. Taylor goes up with it. Taylor missed the easy shot inside, and the Gators come away with it. Michael Frazier, now Wilbekin will come down. Florida with a chance.
Young did a really good job inside, taking up space and keeping a good shot from happening inside.
The Gators can get their biggest lead of the night, but Young had his shot blocked by Taylor. Relaford lost it momentarily, but regains it.
Fill the top.
Key on the baseline, the kick out to Hale, and the swing to Relaford. He'll go into the land of the big fellas, and Relaford couldn't get the shot to fall, but he'll go back to the free throw line.
There's no fear in that guy.
No,
he did a great job. It was like he's hungry and was going home for supper.
Dorian Finney-Smith with his second foul. You know, Relaford has put up good numbers during his career in Alabama, but he's in better shape than he's ever been. He's in his best shape, and I think it's shown by his ability to finish when he drives a little bit more this year than he has in years past.
Well, and he hasn't shown any sign of being tired out there tonight. And this is a tough game being played between these two. There's a lot of scrambling and a lot of pushing and shoving going. This is a tough physical game. I think Alabama's done a pretty good job of staying in things to this point.
Hanging to within 5. They've done it largely by making free throws. They've hit 10 to Florida's 3. The Gators have offset that with their three-point shooting, which has been pretty good and just got a little bit better. Casey Hill hits a much-needed three. He's been only 4 for 24 this season. It's the 8th of the 9th the Gators have hit. And boy, if he develops a perimeter shot to go with his penetration ability and speed, which you'll see right here, Hill will be something to see in the next couple of years in Gainesville. Firing from deep, Finney-Smith missed, and Key has the rebound. 8-point lead for the Gators, matches their biggest of the night, and Key is going to draw another foul in transition.
Saved him a bucket. Hill did a great job, first of all, in the defensive end, coming up with the ball, then getting back the other way, and then going back on his second tour on defense in about 4 seconds, and he saved them a bucket right there, going for the ball and committing the foul.
The foul was called on the floor, and it's just the 5th against Florida this half, so Alabama will have it out of bounds.
That was a great foul, Reese. I mean, really smart play on the kid's part, because the foul didn't mean anything. It just gave him the ball back out of bounds, but had he not fouled him, it would have been an easy bucket.
Gators now sitting in zone. Alabama turns it over.
Sloppy pass.
Frazier for 3. Relaford takes it away. It's a big miss for Florida. They really perhaps could have put Alabama in a big hole. Instead, Cooper drives to the bucket and scores. So instead of a 10-point deficit, it's just 6.
It was a great move by Cooper, but the defense, all it has to do is put its foot on the baseline, and that drive is taken away.
Wilbekin. Now Hill, deflected pass. Going to stay on this end with the Gators with 15 seconds remaining on the shot clock as we go to break. Here's the last play, Coach.
We're going to see a really good bucket here. Little fake drive. If he being the defensive man from Florida, puts his foot on the baseline, there's no bucket.
Too deep and limiting themselves. What about what Shannon Hale did here from Alabama?
We're going to see a great move inside. The ball is about received halfway up the lane. Now, Hale can either go either way with it, and he had a little fake to the outside and got back to the inside. That was a great move inside, particularly for a kid who wasn't a postman.
Hale has 8 points. He's been scrappy tonight. Big future expected for him. They think he can be a face-up, stretch 4 kind of guy, kind of player that really Anthony Grant hasn't had the last couple of years in the lineup. Hale's got a little bit of length and size.
You know, we talk about passing and shooting and defense, but I'll tell you a thing that we rarely mention is deception. And deception is a big part of basketball, particularly from an offensive standpoint. But even from a defensive standpoint, you can make a thrust at a guy and he picks up the ball, or deception is such a big part of this game.
Levi Randolph commits his first foul against Alabama in the second half.
Good coverage by Alabama, particularly by Key, getting out in the corner to take away the shot.
Prather came up with the deflection, missed it, and the tip in by Will Yeget. That's 4 for Yeget, and the Gator leads back to 8.
Not sure that one wasn't a goaltend.
You know, I think I'd like to see that offensive goaltending rule taken out of the books anyway.
Yeah.
International game, they let him touch it, right?
I think so, and that's not a bad idea.
Jacobs to the bucket.
Jacobs made a good move, but the next guy over has got to shut that off, and he just stood like he bought a ticket to watch.
In the middle of the lane, Prather has it, and Key was reaching in. Let's have a look at that last tip in by Yeget and see if the ball was still on the cylinder.
See what you think. See what you think.
It's hard to tell, but it looks as if part of the ball was still on the rim and in the cylinder.
I think it was a goaltend.
I agree. As the rule was written. What, you're surprised that I agree?
No, I'm saying that that's 2.
Yeah.
We got substantial evidence here.
6-point lead for Florida. Frazier over the top of the zone and rattles it in. Michael Frazier with his 4th 3 of the night, and it's 50-41, and Florida has its biggest lead of the evening.
Randolph played very softly against the shot on top of the key, and he just can't do that. It's your responsibility on the point to not give up that shot from the top of the key, and that was a big, big bucket that they gave up there. Gators got a bucket without any pressure being applied on that last possession.
Crimson Tide trying to hang in as we go inside the 10-minute mark. Florida trying to remain perfect in SEC play. Home game against Tennessee on Saturday. Jacobs going to try a rare outside shot, and Nick Jacobs with a couple of straight buckets. He has 8.
They're a little bit slow, they being Florida, in reacting to the ball. The ball was moved quicker than Florida was moving, and that opened it up. Almost the same thing right there on the bucket that Florida just got.
And shoot around today, Billy Donovan told Michael Frazier, hey, Mike, don't think, just shoot. He did. And the Gators are upside and outside the arc. They've taken 50 field goal attempts, almost evenly distributed between 2s and 3s, and they've hit 10 of each. In fact, just 1 3 off their season high. They made 11, the victory over Georgia a couple weeks ago, and they have 10 so far tonight. Michael Frazier, the second, has 5 of them. Gators not as much of a three-point shooting team as they've been in recent years, ranking below 200 in the country in number of threes made per game, but they've shot plenty of them against the Alabama zone and made some tonight. And Cooper passed up a 3 for Alabama. Crimson Tide is 1 of 9 from behind the arc. Cooper, another drive. He's cut off, has to save it to Jacobs, and Young stole it, and ahead of the field is Hill. Relaford trying to chase him down. He can't catch him, and the Gators lead by a dozen.
That's just what we were working on this morning, you and I down there, is taking away that drive. That was a great example of not giving up the baseline drive and winding up with the ball. That was the best defensive play of the night.
The Gators firmly in control as we go down to the 8.5-minute mark.
Now, one thing about getting the big kid out there, you don't want anybody on the perimeter of a zone offensively that can't shoot the ball from there.
Jacobs inside, spins away from Young and rolls it in. Nick Jacobs into double figures.
Jacobs did a really good job looking where the defensive man was. So many times inside, kids move so quickly that they don't realize which direction they should be going, and they often go in the wrong direction. They knew right where he was that time, the defensive postman.
Jacobs blocks Patrick Young's shot. Patrick recovers. Frazier for three, misses this one. Cooper fighting with Finney Smith, and Jacobs clears it out, and Relaford pushes it into the front court. Alabama trying to hang around. Not a lot of offensive options for the Crimson Tide. Jacobs screens for Relaford. Randolph driving, Randolph in the lane and scoring. Levi Randolph.
The biggest thing that has to happen against a drive is that the defense provides help. When the ball is put on the floor and the drive is initiated, there has to be somebody other than playing the driver. There has got to be help to keep him from getting the kind of shot that Alabama just got.
Hill just took a terrible shot for Florida. Relaford all the way to the bucket and one. Trevor Relaford with 14, and Alabama a moment ago down by a dozen. A chance to cut it back to 5. Might we have a finish in Tuscaloosa? Number 6 on the road with the lead. Buffaloes lost their leading scorer Spencer Dinwiddie to a knee injury for the rest of the year, but still formidable team. Developed a little bit of a rivalry over the last couple of years. Colorado's moved into the Pac-12 and also played before the Buffs were in the league. That's coming up as soon as we finish in Tuscaloosa. And Relaford, a 92% free throw shooter, has missed 2 free throws tonight. Couldn't finish off the three-point play, so it's a 6-point game.
Changed around with the zone a little bit. Can't leave that kind of an opening. The 2 back guys have got to close that opening. That was very sloppy zone play.
Casey Prayson with his 13th point. Levi Randolph. To Cooper. He'll fire one up. Cooper can't get it to go. He hasn't been able to find the range from outside tonight. Gators can get it back to double figures.
They're doing a good job taking their time, waiting to see what they've got. Go about 10, 12 seconds, then go look for a shot.
Wilbekin was ready. Young offensive rebound. Patrick hesitated and gets fouled by Jimmy Taylor, and Young will go to the line and shoot a pair.
Young hasn't been as big a factor in this game as I would have anticipated him to be.
Now, Young at times, I'd like to see him make himself available more often.
And then not worry about not taking it to the bucket. Get it and go into the bucket, almost like he wants to give it to somebody else.
ESP has journeyed to the tourney as a season-long spotlight on games that will impact the tournament. Saturday, Big Ten battle in East Lansing. Michigan and Michigan State, the only 2 teams in the Big Ten perfect in conference play. 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Also live on Watch ESPN in the banks of the Red Cedar in East Lansing. It's where College Game Day will return this weekend. Young makes the second. He has 5. Nick Jacobs returning for the Crimson Tide. Just over 6 minutes to play. Alabama's won 14 straight home games in SEC play. The last SEC team to beat them here in Coleman Coliseum, Florida, 2 years ago. The Gators have a 9-point lead on the Crimson Tide now.
A little bit more man-to-man oriented now.
Hale to Cooper.
Did a good job switching on the perimeter.
A little stagnant. Alabama's not getting much toward the basket now. Jacobs swings it to Cooper. Cooper hadn't had any luck from 3, so he goes to the bucket, gets his shot blocked. Prather's out of there with it, and the Gators have it.
That's where he's got to pull up and take that 7-8 footer. We've talked about that a couple of times. You're going against those big guys, and you're not going to get what you can get out of that 6 or 8 footer.
Young kept it alive for a moment, but Cooper pulls it down for the Tide as we head toward the 5-minute mark. Young with a good show in the recovery against Jacobs. Relaford a little push off, got away with it. Jacobs asking for it against Young inside. The lefty goes, puts it up, it goes, and I thought I saw Jim Burr wave off the basket saying the foul was on the floor. And he's calling it the 1-and-1, so foul occurring before Jacobs went into the act of shooting. That's 4 fouls on Patrick Young. Alabama's into the 1-and-1. So Nick Jacobs will go to the free throw line. Jacobs, not a great free throw shooter, shooting a tad under 60% for the season.
Jacobs to shoot 1-on-1.
Jacobs hits the front end. If you're a night owl or just want to get up early, don't miss the semifinals of the Australian Open tonight. Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer at 3:30 Eastern Time. Be able to catch a little bit of that perhaps before I leave for the airport in the morning. You gonna set your alarm and get up early, Coach?
Yeah, I might do that. I really enjoyed the match the other day. That was a heck of a match.
I think 3:30 in the morning. The good thing is if you want to get up and watch it, you can. If not, that's why the good Lord invented DVRs. 2 free throws made it a 7-point game, but Coach, really the difference in the game has been Florida's prowess from 3.
And no question about that. I think that they've had good patience against the zone, and when they get some penetration against the zone with that patience, they come up with good scoring opportunities.
They've had 5 different guys hit 3-pointers. Of course, leading the way is the leader in 3-point percentage in the SEC, Michael Frazier, who's hit 5 of 13. He has 16 points and is the leading scorer in the game.
You know, we were talking about that 10-point deficit. We're at 7 now, and it's gone 2.5 minutes. And I look up at the clock, and it's really not a 7. During that time, Alabama was able to cut it to 5 points during those previous minutes, and that would have been a great situation for them. But it's not all that bad being here with 7.
Alabama's changing up his defensive look.
And a man.
First time tonight. Been sitting in that zone, but with 5 minutes to go, they have to apply a little more pressure. Jacobs doubling Wilbekin. Wilbekin handles it nicely. Prather on the drive. Prather over the top. Can't get it to go. Fight for the rebound. Cooper tried to slap it off of Uguet. Uguet caught it, and Randolph fouled him inside. Second foul on Levi Randolph. Only the 4th team foul on Alabama, so the Gators won't be shooting yet. Uguet was trying to convince Roger Ayers he was on his way up. Well, Roger's not buying it, so.
These inside kids on both teams have done a really good job going after the ball. Actually, at both ends of the floor, they've made it tough for the inside people to operate offensively.
Relaford tried to pick Wilbekin's pocket. Trevor second in the SEC in steals. Wilbekin takes care of the ball. Finney Smith controls, and then before he traveled, he was called for the foul. Not he was called for the foul. I should say he drew the foul against Rodney Cooper. It's his third.
There were a couple of fans that disagreed with the call.
Fans have been known to do that. What they wanted was the same thing Cooper did. They wanted the travel call before the foul. So a fresh 35 for the Gators, inside 4.5 to play in Tuscaloosa. Florida with a 7-point lead.
I think we're going to see Florida really kind of take their time.
Uguet backs Cooper down.
Great move back to the middle. Picked it up. He had room to go to the middle. That's what we talked about this morning when we were going through some stuff. You got to have 2 routes to go. Left, right, get the open. They can't cover both of them unless they have 2 guys there. And he had a 1-man defense, and he beat him.
This might be a stay-in-the-game possession for Alabama. Almost threw it away. Randolph got it, shot it, knocked it down. Levi Randolph's had a couple of buckets in the last few moments.
That was very nice going up with the shot. Randolph had complete control of that shot. That looked like it was going in almost from the time he left the floor, the way he handled it.
Wilbekin loses Relaford. Prather to the top. Wide open is Uguet. Uguet is blocked by Cooper. Uguet got it back. Good hustle by Uguet, and Relaford comes out of there with a steal. Relaford working on Frazier to the bucket. It's rejected. Randolph gets the rebound for Alabama. Relaford again to the bucket, missed the layup in traffic, and Yeget pulls down the rebound. Tough physical play on both sides.
Well, I'll say Relaford had a great chance to have gotten the ball to Cooper there for a wide open three. That would have been a great pass off.
Relaford frustrated that he couldn't get those go down. Let's take a look at Cooper climb the ladder, and Yeget continues to hustle. Relaford steps in and makes the play, and here he goes.
Relaford does a great job going to the bucket.
Now it was Randolph popping behind the arc for the three. So 2:48 to go as Anthony Grant pleads his case with Les Jones. He wanted a foul called in there.
Florida has really done a great job going to the bucket, but you got to give a lot of credit to Alabama, just simply the fact that they still got a chance. I mean, this game has not gone to Florida yet, and they've really hustled and they've played hard. Unless at 7 they could get a bucket, then they've still got time to win this game.
This will be mentioned it was a stay in the game possession on offense for the Crimson Tide last time, and Randolph had the bucket. This might be the same thing defensively for the Crimson Tide.
I think when it gets to 9, Reese, when one team has a 9-point lead, that unless the other team can get a couple of buckets and get it down to 6 or 5, that 9-point lead is going to be too much with 2.5 minutes to play.
9's what the lead will be with a 2. It'll be 10 with a 3. Prather driving, putting it up, can't get it to go. The fight for the rebound, and I think they're going to call the foul. They call a foul on Prather? No, just off of Prather. It'll be Alabama's basketball. 2:35 to play in Tuscaloosa. Saturday prime time, presented by DirecTV. Both games live on the Watch ESPN app or Watch ESPN on the internet. Florida on the road, number 6 team in the country, a 7-point lead on Alabama, going inside the 2.5-minute mark to play. Very important possession for the Crimson Tide as the Gators try to choke off any hope that the Tide has. Relaford off the feed from Key, and they'll run a couple of Florida defenders at him. Key on the drive. Algie Key puts it up, can't get it to go. Nick Jacobs pushed off to get the rebound.
And that's a big bucket right there. You know, we're talking about they've got 7 minutes, 6.5 minutes to play, and they've got a chance to cut that lead now down to 5, which puts them at 2 buckets, and I'm talking about Alabama. But to give up that possession without scoring was not good, because this lead could go to 9 or 10 here.
Two minutes to play in Tuscaloosa. Wilbekin working on Relaford, and he draws the foul, and Florida's now into the 1-and-1.
That was a huge possession for Florida. It took off about 35 seconds, and at that point, the foul happened, so they had that chance to use up a half a minute plus get 2 points. This could be the biggest play of the game right here if he hits both of these. Bingo.
Wilbekin makes the first. You're back on your hot streak. Scotty has 7 tonight.
This is the kind of kid you want to, he's relaxed, made the first one. This is the kind of kid that you want to have shooting this free throw. What do you bet? That's good.
Knocks them both down. Gators have it back to 9.
That's big possession. That was the biggest possession of the game, really, for both teams. It used up a lot of time, and it gained 2 points.
Alabama hit just 1 3 tonight. They're in need to catch up quickly, and shooting from behind the arc is not their strong suit. Levi Randolph kicking it out to Relaford. Relaford will let a 3 fly. He can't get it to go. Cooper and Randolph fight each other for the rebound and knock it out of bounds. And the Gators, with 94 seconds remaining, headed to a 5-0 SEC start, 16-2 overall.
The thing that's happened here is the 2 most vital possessions of the game have both gone from Alabama to Florida without Alabama gaining anything in these last 2 possessions, and that's going to be a huge, huge difference.
Can't get the ball in bounds against the press.
Got to have a setup against the press where you're at least as far away as the foul line from the baseline where the inbound is going to come from, and You get a three-man triangle in there and just screen each other, and you're going to get somebody open without any problem. And then you keep a guy down the field, get him out of there, your big kid, but have those three kids in a triangle screening each other, and the defense can't switch fast enough.
Florida with a 62-53 lead, and perhaps an unlikely candidate for the John R. Wooden Award, one of the midseason top 25 candidates. Casey Prather averaging over 17 points per game. He's got 13 tonight. He's a guy who hasn't scored much in his first 3 years in Florida, but he's been an effective senior leader for the Gators all season, and he's been very solid, calm, under control. A couple of those mid-range jumpers he hit, Coach, are very important.
Well, now here we've got a really good setup by Florida right here to get the inbounds play. I like this. We're going to see people breaking all kinds. They're open, really good. Very, very smart possession there.
Billy Donovan drawing up the ball play, but Cooper with the steal. Cooper working on Wilbekin, who cut him off nicely. Randolph up the miss. Alabama needs to score quickly. Randolph driving, and Florida, for some inexplicable reason, fouls him. I mean, the Gators right now with a 9-point lead. You don't want to give them the opportunity to catch up at the free throw line. Fair enough?
Absolutely.
4 fouls on Casey Prather. Billy Donovan about to send freshman Casey Hill back into the game to help with the ball handling against the press, which is surely coming if Randolph makes these free throws.
This is really the first positive situation that Alabama is going to have here in about the last 3 possessions. Everything had gone, and I don't mean had gone, I mean Florida played enough to get those 2 possessions in their favor, so now there's still 1 big possession ahead easily.
Got the ball in easily to Prather now. Hill in the back court. Randolph always picks his pocket. Randolph with the steal. Les Jones comes in and blows a whistle, and Levi Randolph made the steal, and Casey Hill fouled him. Hill's third, and Randolph's going to go back to the free throw line.
Very casual approach by Hill with the dribble. We're going to see here, kind of careless. He tries a crossover right in front of the defensive man. That was very, very poor execution or movement on his part with the ball.
Still a 1-and-1 for Randolph. Makes the first. Randolph have an opportunity to score 4 points in a matter of just a few seconds. No time expiring from the clock as he goes into double figures. It's a 5-point game with 1:07 to go.
They're still in the ball game. They can still get 2 possessions here easily.
Crowd trying to root for the miracle. Wilbekin, sure-handed, working on Relaford, and Scotty's going to take care of business himself and get it into the front court. He did pick it up in a dangerous spot, though, and got rid of it before the trap got him. Grant electing not to foul. He does want Wilbekin doubled. He got away from it and kicked it back out to Hill. Still plenty of time on the shot clock, and now they're coming after Hill to try to put him on the free throw line. Algie Key with his third.
They might have been better off with that, although he just got that 47 seconds left, but they were almost to the end of the shot clock and forced them to throw something up. But now they've given Florida a 2-point chance here. So much that I'd have given him the game.
Hill made the first one. This is a big one because, at least in theory, it changes it to a 3-possession game.
Yeah, it takes away. You've got 2 threes, and you still got to get another one.
Hill puts it up, and he misses it. Cooper will chase it down in the corner. Alabama needs quick offense.
They're going to go to the bucket, I would think.
Relaford,
yeah,
Cooper
good
to
move
the bucket.
to the bucket.
No call on the block charge close underneath, and Casey Hill would get it. Grant wanted something called, got nothing. Hill would kick it out, and Wilbekin, the wily veteran, will just dribble away, knowing that Alabama has to foul at this point. Hill came down quickly, almost as if he were looking for offense, kicked it out to Wilbekin, and Scotty was sort of like, whoa, young fella, let's get this conference road win. We'll go to the free throw line, make some, hop on the plane, go back to Gainesville.
You're not going to find, Reese, every game that we do or we watch or we see on the tube where two teams play as hard against each other as these two have had. This is in itself a neat thing to watch. There have been a lot of miscues, but not out of effort. They've both played, shown themselves to be very, very good competitively.
Alabama's going to fall to 8-10. Tide played a very difficult schedule, but they haven't beaten any of these good teams. Most of the games sort of like this one, pretty close. Can't quite get over the hump as Shannon Hale scores, make it 65-59. And Alabama will call a quick timeout with 18.2 to play.
I think that Hale could be a guy that could be used a little bit more than they've used him here tonight. He seems like he's got a little variety of things that a couple of their inside players don't have.
So how would you suggest doing that? What kind of things would you do with it?
Well, you could play him high because you saw really a good drive right there. He sees well.
That foul moves the Gators into the double bonus. So assuming that he makes one of these free throws, the oddity of the string will continue for the Crimson Tide in games this season in which they have allowed more than 65 points. They are winless. They are undefeated and holding their opponent below 65. They are 66, a magic number for Florida. You look at this Gator team, do you see the type of team that can make another Elite Eight as they have the last 3 years, perhaps the Final Four?
You know, I would think so. I think maybe their inside players, as I look at Young particularly, has got to add more than he did in this game. I think all through their inside lineup, they've got to get a little bit more out of him. But from all other standpoints, and they've already shown that, they're going to be good. See, now, that's the bucket that they didn't give Cooper the ball back here about 3 or 4 minutes ago, and he hits that one, and that's, remember I said, boy, that's a great shot for Cooper, and he had already drilled one. And getting the ball to the right person is just as important as hanging on to the ball or making the drive yourself. But when Cooper had hit a jumper, a three-pointer, and now he was open, but they bypassed him. And now the next chance he had was just this one, and he made it.
And Cooper just 3 of 12 from the floor tonight. It was his first 3 that he knocked down in 5 opportunities. Only the second three-pointer Alabama's hit tonight.
But, you know, that's, again, they've got some stuff to do with their inside people, I think. Alabama does, that can make them a real threat now as they get going into really serious play, conference play, all the way down to the wire. They've just got to do, their kids on the perimeter, I think, handle the ball pretty well. And they get the ball to people. Think of all the times I'd like to have a film, if I were coaching, to show my inside guys of all the times in tonight's game they've had the ball inside where they lost it or got it blocked or missed the shot. Boy, they have attacked the bucket really well, but their results haven't been very good.
This is one of the things that Anthony Grant told us today that he wanted particularly out of his veterans. Wanted a little more aggression from Cooper and Randolph and Jacobs particularly. You saw Randolph hit a couple of shots late. Cooper's been aggressive, albeit not necessarily terribly successful offensively. Jacobs has had a solid night with 12 points on 5 of 7 shooting. And the delay here is for the officials to check the time and see when the foul was committed. It looks as if we've spent a lot of time looking at the monitor and decided to do nothing. Prather knocks down the free throw, and Casey's at 14 points. 276 points in his first 3 seasons in Gainesville, and I'm going to call it early, Bob. This is 274. Oh, no! You're just grinning. I don't like it when you laugh at me like that.
No, I didn't. I think you made a very good try.
Tried to call it really early. We called this game fairly early, and the Gators out-scrap Alabama, and they win it 68-62. Florida still undefeated in conference play. This just the first of our doubleheader. Time to go to the Pac-12 now. Colorado at #1, Arizona.
Reese, appreciate it. Coming up, Aaron Gordon.